Well, I beat Death Stranding. Where are you at exactly?
I'm one session past where I was the last time you asked.
So I actually I clicked the link and you were in that forest.
Yep.
That forest is a fuck, ain't it?
And then on the way back out, yay.
Yeah. Were there bridges? Isn't that the sickest? That's the game. That experience is the game.
And as people were able to definitely, I guess, assess, still not 100% familiar with like, all the nuts and bolts
There are many.
of things. So I know when you're gripping, you've got your stamina or energy or whatever
Your monster energy.
you've got the meter that goes down,
Yeah.
but then there's also the meters on the bottom left.
Bottom left is
There's
your
boots
baby and your feet.
and your boots, okay. And then there's the other blue. There's the light blue, and then there's the other blue meter that overlaps on top of your stamina.
Yeah, that's max stamina and current stamina.
Right, right. So like, there was stuff that like Reggie was pointing out, and I was like, right, okay. But I'm ultimately just like, hey, like if that goes,
Don't
low,
fall down.
Don't let it get low.
Yeah, don't let it get low.
So then don't get, and then you drink energy drink to make it go
You can
back
drink
up.
Monster brand energy
Yeah,
drink.
and that's basically all. I'm like, whatever it is or was, I'm just don't let it empty, and then that's it. The standing still really helped.
Yeah, standing still in water actually is shockingly helpful.
Didn't have as much trouble by seeing them this time around, and like before, I was just relying on the clip.
Which is like nice but useless.
Um,
Because it's actually just point your camera in that direction and then stop moving so you can actually see the fucking thing.
yeah, and whatever. I don't know. So I guess I'm just like, you know, maybe I just need off-camera time of like doing like non-important missions to get used to things or whatever. But everyone says my playthrough is an abortion to watch.
Sick.
So I don't know.
That's the best.
I'm trying. I got nothing.
Well, go ahead.
I'm not picking it up as fast as other people pick it
Go
up.
ahead and find the secret prepper that you've passed by. There's a secret prepper.
Is it the Ludens fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him on the map.
Oh, you saw him?
I
Okay.
saw him on the map, and I also saw him in the preview video.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't.
I know what that is.
Okay. So I actually didn't find him until late. So at the current point that I'm at in Death Stranding, I beat it, credits rolled, and because it's Kojima, credits rolled, and then credits rolled. The game's really nice. It dumps you into a nice little post game where it's like story's over, but it rewinds time a little bit so that you can just keep doing what you're doing. I at least 4-starred everybody, like every single fucking thing on the map, which means I earned every single piece of gear that there is in the game, aside from a few. There's charms you
On
can.
camera?
No, not all of them on camera.
Okay.
Some of the because some of that is lots and lots of trips. I built every road. I ziplined the whole world. It's that moment in a game where you're like, a completionist wouldn't say that you did 100%, but you feel like you did everything of value. I'm there. So I have some thoughts. One, the actual filling out the map and meeting people and getting new gear from them that like stuff as trivial as getting a slightly better pair of boots is really engaging and a lot of fun. The BT gameplay actually has a nice escalation in difficulty, which was really cool. A lot of the characters are fucking awesome. I think Heartman in particular is super fucking rad, and the cutscenes involving Heartman are the coolest thing in the game.
He's very cool to look at, and his attitude does not at all like match his looks, and
It's very upbeat.
yeah. But what's interesting is I started going through those interviews,
You should read every single one of
and
those.
they're so important.
And see,
They're so important, and like for someone who hasn't like walked into the game yet, like he has all the Koji questions.
oh yeah,
Right? So like every one of his interview questions has been Basically, this is the shower thought
What's the deal with?
Hideo had that day,
Yeah.
and he put it into a Heartman email. Whereas
So
everyone else is really grounded.
you'll
in
get Heartman
events.
emails, you'll get Mama emails, you'll get Deadman emails, you will get emails and interviews from a wide fucking variety of sources. There are like 100-ish, and you unlock them all the way up until the end of the game. One of the ones I unlocked near the end of the game, which I couldn't believe was one that you unlock near the end of the game, is what's the deal with planes? Why can't we just fly shit? And it's because the clouds, the timefall clouds, they're all fucked. You can't fly anything.
Hartman says that in an early email. Actually, he's like, air transportation is
so they go into more detail about like, oh yeah, the chiralium just really fucks up the guidance or whatever.
The nature of our beaches.
So Hands Across America,
Yep.
backpacking addiction,
100%
is
us.
very, like, if you're into it, man, it's really good. Like, it's really good. It's really satisfying. They keep adding new facets to the ruckin' over and over, all the way up until the end, including a few upgrades that you get so late that you're like, there's nothing to use these on. This is too late.
You know what's interesting? The fact that how like there's so much like, what is the game? What is this game, right?
Yeah.
Something I didn't not realize, but something I thought about was like, was some of that confusion due to the fact that like being a postman, being a UPS delivery man is a passive, omnipresent aspect of every other video game?
Maybe.
Right? You are
Fetch
always
quests are-
a fetch questing.
Absolutely.
You are always walking around delivering an object to a person who needs it in another village in every video game.
It's just the thing you pick up on the way out of town.
So the concept of actually paying attention to that part of things is like, wait, but that's the background.
yeah, who cares about
right?
that?
It's like China going to see Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand. What am I supposed to
It's
see
this
here?
great feeling where, near the fucking end of the game, I'm doing a delivery over a mountain.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm transporting really fragile shit.
Yeah.
So if I take one bad step, I die. And I totally did. So I'm like, fuck, okay, well, I'm going to have to go down to the valley, which, of course, is filled with ghosts. And thus, the trip was eventful and difficult.
But if like the game didn't have all these conversations and prompts where people were talking about how delivering things is so important, then if you just watched a trailer for someone delivering and carrying things, which is what we saw
Yeah.
prior to the actual plot, then you'd be like, but that's the secondary background thing you always do in video games.
Yeah, when do you shoot the gun?
What's the game, So it is interesting to just take a step back and go like, oh, he like made it about that thing that we do all the time but don't think about.
He hoodwinked us so that people would be into this thing that would have been a hard sell otherwise. I really like what I ended up getting in terms of like gameplay moment to moment. Like I spent maybe 85 hours with it. Like I got the time in and I loved it, and I'm glad I built all those roads. But like if I had just been told, like, say it didn't have Kojima's name on it, so it was a package delivery game, I would have been like, okay, into the bin next to Firewatch and Dear Esther and whatever. So
well, but the horror elements, I mean,
yeah, are cool.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to say that the horror combat, yes, I know, and stealth stuff does ramp up more and more. Like there is more variety, but it's a proper curve. It's not like spikes. It's like it's a smooth curve all the way up.
Oh yeah, I mean that glimpse of a boss was terrifying.
And I want to give a huge shout out to one. I think his name is James Earl Jenkins. Guy who plays Die Hard Man. They should take some of these cutscenes and tell the Oscar people they're from a movie, so that he can win an Oscar, because that motherfucker kills it.
Okay.
I have not seen a good like acting man act like Die Hard Man in like a couple years, including the films that I've watched. He fucking kills it. Mads is way underused. Like, I want you to be in my game. Cool. What do you want me to be? I don't know. Feeling. Like, just... like, every scene he's in is fucking sick. But
Tommy Earl Jenkins.
Tommy Earl Jenkins. I don't know why.
Correct him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, people. Tommy Earl Jenkins is a Die Hard Man actor. He do a good job. Yeah, Mads is way underused. It's a bummer. The actors who played everybody else did really good jobs. It's just Die Hard Man stands out. The story does not really require a spoiler cast. It's, I would say, way more straightforward than I was expecting. And like, I'd put it like in between like Metal Gear 2 and 3 in terms of like, huh? What? You know?
Okay, so no massive digestion period required.
No, like you get it.
Okay.
And it has real answers for you.
Cool.
There's only one problem. And that problem is the, I'm going to call the Kojima tell-all scene, where a character stands in front of you and tells you what the deal is. So the Patriots did it, the Boss did it, Ocelot did it, Liquid did it, etc. It's the fucking worst part of the game. It is so bad because it's the first time that Kojima, like, you know, we've been talking about throwing themes in your face. This is injecting the themes into your blood.
Skull face in the back of the truck.
Yeah. And it has parts of it where the character's talking and you're actually going, no, that's wrong, though. Like, that's not correct. Like, not in terms of morals. I'm like, shit
incorrect.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You read a bunch of shit and you thought it was cool and you put it in your game, but that is literally nonsense and doesn't make any sense. And I disagree. It's been a long time. I disagree with the story at that point.
Okay, you disagree with Kojima's hypothesis.
Like the hypothesis and then the theme and then the answer.
Yeah.
And I go, no, that's wrong.
Okay.
And I'm not the only person. I spoke to a bunch of people and everybody was in agreement. Game's great. Ending sequence great. That one part, though, that 145-minute part is so bad that if I stopped playing during it, I would have never gone back to pick it up.
Interesting. Well, I'll judge it myself.
And this is particularly important for you, Wolves, because you'll be recording this. The end sequence is like 7 hours long.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's like Arsenal gear times 3.
Yeah, I expect... Honestly, like, anything I'm playing nowadays, I'm... every time a game starts to make you feel like you're preparing for the end, it's all lies now. So I completely refuse to buy into it ever at this point in time because it has not been honest in years.
So the problem with this,
I literally just like I hit one in Indivisible that says like,
really?
Yeah, there's a point in Indivisible where it says like, hey, you're not going to be able. This is the point of it. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not.
So in Death Stranding, when you get the feeling that this is the, like, I think somebody says this is the last delivery you'll be making for a while, Sam, right? It is. It's just that from that point onward,
there's other stuff.
You are locked into what is essentially Act 5 of MGS4.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's just like this.
It's hard to tell a player, to indicate to a player that you are closing out a section of the game And
without having somebody come tell you like the remainder of the deliveries will not be available for the
right. And like, but the problem is, and then your brain goes, oh, this must be like
the biggest deal.
20 minutes away from credits, and you're like, no. It just means what you've been doing now is going to be
It'll be very serious.
different. Yeah. So yeah, there's tricky ways of handling that, and like I'm no longer buying into the like sitting down and expecting a credit sequence within a reasonable time frame, because Persona fucked me up.
Yeah.
On expectations.
In terms of gameplay, there is one thing that I forgot to say, which is that in this delivery game, I really didn't know how they were going to handle a finale. And the gameplay finale, the final boss, if it were, is actually really fucking fantastic. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I saw you had a tweet that was basically just like, great, this part sucks, and then this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one conversation that goes on for almost an hour. Mm-hmm. It's also like the longest stretch of cutscenes in the game, mm-hmm. like a massive margin.
Yeah, but what's a long stretch of cutscenes these days?
It's an hour plus.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy long.
That's everybody's doing it.
No, man.
I sat and watched Naruto talk to his mom for 45. A cool 45.
Really?
In a Nuns game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, his mom?
That's correct.
Man, Naruto's dumb.
Yeah. She was waiting at the gate.
But yeah, and I feel bad for the actor responsible for that conversation, because they're doing their best. But man, I can only imagine them looking down at the page and going, so this is what I got to work with, huh?
Well, all right. Everyone has the same thing. They all say the same thing, which is, I don't understand this, but Kojima's a visionary, and I trust him.
I can understand now how individual actors were really fucking confused, because if they were not like looking over and going through all the other character scenes, yeah, they'd be really, really fucking confused about what the fuck is going on.
I also have a massive pop filter up in front of you for the possibility that you just might not understand what you encountered, / there might be other interpretations that will be brought to the forefront down the line.
I discussed this with a lot of people, and there was even a thread on it.
But it doesn't matter in the sense that it's still...
Well, I'm telling you right now, it is not complicated enough to not understand.
Okay. What I'm thinking of is that reviewer that said something to the effect. I quoted it before, but it's like the post discussion for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Should be really interesting, right? So it's like, okay, let's see where it goes, what people interpret. Is anyone going to go on a forum and do a big breakdown analysis that goes, actually, I think things went this way or that way, and interpret it a little bit differently? What's going to come out of this?
So when I was going through this,
just grab a drink.
Paige was with me right next to me, and she seemingly correctly internalized what the message was, like the fucking this is what's going on, man, the real nitty gritty, right,
the human element.
And she was explaining it to me, and I'm like, I think you're right, but that's stupid. So I'm interested in seeing your thoughts on it. Overall, very good game, very weird, super unique, very glad I played it.
When's the last time you encountered a piece of media where you thoroughly enjoyed everything about it, but fundamentally disagreed with the thesis?
I don't know. I really don't know. Because, like, the thesis is, like, connection is important, and,
of course,
and
people,
killing
humans,
people is
etc.
bad.
Yeah.
Right? And I agree with that thesis. It's just a couple of the little nodules off the side that I'm just like, no, bad. But yeah, I don't know if I'd give it a 8. I don't know. There's my review. Really good. There are some flaws that stand out. Like, there are some bits in which, like, you get to the end of the game and you're delivering stuff to get upgrades, and you're like, I'm literally just ziplining back and forth between 2 locations for like an hour over and over just to deliver this shit, and it's like it doesn't fucking matter. You know, like the zip lines are too strong. Zip lines are OP. They're just OP.
But you have to, or rather, you should be using them off of roads.
No, you get enough bandwidth. You just fucking.
Okay.
I had them.
You spent the time to trivialize the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Is there anything else? Heartman good.
So I guess the discussion is really just how did you feel about what you read, you know? Hey, here's a question. When you beat it and load up your new game plus, does it dump some new interviews on you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
There
That's what I was hoping to hear.
are like I'm not going to do them because I was playing it on stream and there was a chat to just tell me what was in them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's a fucking like Animal House style like this is what happened to the people along the way, and they'll send you emails and like oh, we got back together. I'm gonna go work over on this thing, you know, and just like little denouements for certain characters to give you a little bit of a boost while you're cleaning up your 5-star America. Yeah, there is one other thing, and that is, you know, when we're watching or playing a game. Remember when you were playing Wonderful 101, and you got the drill?
Yep.
And you were like, oh, yeah, they like the thing I like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This happens in Death Stranding, and it's not good. Because you're like, oh, you like the thing? Oh, no. You're doing the thing that was in the thing that I liked.
Oh,
it doesn't fit. It's not appropriate.
Oh, it's like you're doing the thing, but like now you're just like it's not an homage.
There's a fine line between homage and ripoff.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wow.
And also, for the love of God, do not watch that fucking launch trailer.
Well, why the fuck would I do that?
Yeah, everybody who's listening that is interested in Death Stranding and has not watched that launch trailer,
no,
for fuck's sake.
So, every time I felt like it, I would just go and play.
So I watched I skimmed through the launch trailer right before the podcast started.
Yeah. Dude, I mean,
don't watch that launch trailer.
The anime intro for Astral Chain
is unavoidable.
It's there. It's nonstop. Can't stop it. Spoilers, but whatever. You don't even know what you're looking at. You know. No, definitely. That's a stupid.
But
thing
yeah,
to do.
so Death Stranding is in the bag. It is still a really different thing than I wanted from the basic pitch. The way that you've described it as the coolest thing in the world is seeing a guy float up to the sky to stab himself so he doesn't get eaten by a giant 1,000-foot tall hand monster. The game looked a lot more horror-ish, and it's like it's more about Ruckin. And while I really enjoyed the Ruckin, I would have actually appreciated a lot more horror. And yeah.
I kind of came to terms with what the threat was, right? In terms of like how it expresses itself in the game.
The threat is loneliness.
But I remember definitely many podcasts ago when I first saw that launch trailer and I saw the hands grabbing Sam and he had to like shake him off, and I was like, oh no, it's just goop hands.
Yeah, it's just
right?
goop hands.
And I was like, goop hands is a concept that's been explored and we're not scared of goop hands anymore. But like if goop hands was your character floats into midair and is being dragged away by an unknown force,
and then let's kill yourself minigame,
or like the break and shake to get off of it is break off of it before you're too high up and you fall and die, or I don't know, right? But things like that, right? Not goop hands, but goop hands in other ways. You know, like don't goop hand me, open the world up around me and make me fall into, like, you know, like make it way more what the fuck, because that is what scares me. If you want to scare me, those ideas get me, right? And I'm saying this as someone who doesn't go down that survival horror like hallway that often. Like those ideas are terrifying. So like the float away man,
I think it's
float away stab man,
I actually think
is a way scarier thing to do to a player in gameplay as you're disoriented as fuck than Goop Hands.
The BTs have a real problem in that they're like visually astonishing and super cool, and they are like horror antagonists. They're monsters, right? They're ghosts. But unlike almost every other ghost monster that has a real horror tinge to them, is they are codified and explained to the fucking nth degree almost immediately. Like, there's an email or an interview you get within the first couple hours of the game that's like, this is how void outs happen. There's an antimatter reaction inside the BT.
So that I can appreciate, because you are the camera is placed behind a character who is hanging out with the scientific community
right
in this post Fallout, right? So you're surrounded by people whose job it is to understand.
Totally, and that is appreciated, but what I mean is that they very quickly lose their horror vibe because there's very little
too
that's
well explained.
Actually mysterious about the fucking
gotcha,
things.
Gotcha. I mean, they do refer to mysteries outright with like things like, we still don't understand how these BBs work.
And
but,
it's like, and you know, you learn that if you piss on the ghosts don't like it. But
I've gotten past it, or at the very least, I've put away that feeling in order to allow the game to take me where it wants to go.
Yeah.
But that moment in that trailer, and that trailer itself,
which is the fucking first or second big cutscene in the game.
That is almost a BioShock Infinite preview / FF versus 13 preview of like something else entirely could have come out of that, you know? Because you don't ever see so far at least, you don't see handprints. I haven't seen handprints in gameplay.
Oh, you totally have.
Okay, I'm way too busy looking at the clip at the
when they come after you, they handprints that stomp.
Camera was not looking at them. Camera was looking at the way out.
Okay, when you hear, you know, they see you and stomp, they're shooting up giant handprints on the ground.
Yeah. So it was at like it's in. I assume they're happening because they're obviously introduced as like that's what these things do, but I've never paid attention to it because there's always something way more pressing to pay attention to.
And if you got pulled down, like fallen down, not necessarily grabbed by the monster, there are handprints all over your backpack.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they want your goodies.
Yeah, I'm looking at my meter. I'm looking at where the clipper is pointing, and I'm looking at my way out. I'm not noticing the hands, you know?
Yeah, because the hand stalking around is not a gameplay thing. That's only like they see you.
Odiadek.
It's some fucking ancient sci-fi term from some fucking thing. Odradek.
Robohand.
Robot hand that gives you a thumbs up.
Yep. Radar.
The baby carousel.
Yes.
When you
But yeah, anyway, that's kind of where I go, and like, and it's the same reason why, like Goop Hands not scary anymore, but like other concepts that like once upon a time like had an effect have now become expected, right? So like if you go to, let's say you actually found yourself in hell one day.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, great. I'm in hell. Got it.
And you literally saw a big flaming throne with a goat-legged dude that was red, and he had the horn sticking out.
You'd be like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Full on Pick of Destiny style.
Yeah, you want to play rock? I was just thinking that. I'm like, you want to play some fucking rock music?
Yeah,
Dave?
full on Pick of Destiny style Satan. Like, wouldn't that be the least scary thing in the world?
Oh, it'd be the lamest thing in the world.
Right.
Like, I mean, if it's a giant flaming goat man, you'd be like still scared because he can fucking kill you, torture you.
Yeah. But the threat is there.
But
like that's not even. It doesn't even remotely register a blip on your like. Oh, I'm scared of that. Right.
Nah.
Whereas if you found yourself in, I don't know. Let's say you were squeezed. I'm just going to fucking riff.
All right.
Let's say you were in a hallway, but the hallway was really, really thin, and you were squeezed shoulder to shoulder with walls, and the hallway was actually up to down.
Yeah.
So you can only look down, crane your neck down to see below you or above you, right? And then a Junji Ito-esque fucking
whatever
character with a giant spiraled hole in its face, taking up most of its skull, is crawling towards you, and making no noises,
And he's like,
and you try to scream and you hear nothing.
and he goes, "Hey, dude, I'm a fairy."
Yep. And you can wiggle enough to get yourself a little bit lower, but nowhere near at the speed that this
that's
thing is
much
coming towards
scarier.
you. Yeah. Right? So all of that is just based on shit you've never encountered,
Yeah.
and and not knowing what any of that is fucked, right? You feel super fucked because you're just scared of the unknown. But that's why when you're trying to scare me with things that we've seen, which is why a lot of those shitstorm games you guys played, I'm just like, what the fuck is this garbage? Because it's like, you can't you like create a completely different scary concept like Cthulhu's and stuff?
Do you play with inverted controls?
I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. I just do the thing. But if you like, when you play like something, or when you reach, like when you look at something and you're like, your design for like a creature is like, if you go into like the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, a lot of the time to me, that's like, you're going for cool,
Yeah.
right? But that coolness is not necessarily scary in the sense that if it's something you've seen a bunch of, right? So
Yeah, the
I
Cthulhu
just
shit
kinda-
often doesn't actually scare me. I just think it's radical.
it's just rad, exactly, right? So and when you see things that are like referential to that, you're like, oh, that's rad, I love that. And it's not like I'm terrified of that. Actually, it's a completely different feeling.
Well, a lot of that has
Focusing
to do
on
with,
the fear.
your ability to like superimpose your own personal state on the character in question.
Yeah.
And whether or not something that threatens that character actually spookifies you as like a startle response. For me, it absolutely does because I'm a big baby. But for you, not so much.
So yeah, so maybe it is, a lot of it is me, but that is kind of part of like when I'm like, well, what's a thing that you've seen a lot of, right? I don't know, a hand reaching out of a wall and
Oh my
grabbing you
God.
or something. And you're like, why can't that hand reach out of me and not the wall? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
if I were to try and direct something scary, I would do nonstop that.
Yeah.
Because that makes me massively uncomfortable. So I really thought that's what we were getting. And I guess I'm just like, I
It's funny you mention that because Junji
haven't seen a
Ito
bunch, but
famously is like a big chicken.
Yeah.
And gets scared super easily.
oh yeah, and Kojima couldn't finish watching The Eye.
And so Junji Ito became like obsessed with horror manga and horror stories to try and like cure himself of that shit.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Yeah,
But then he got way into it.
but like that's the kind of like the Ito style, like that is so good.
Yeah. While Junji Ito's the shit, and that's why he's in Death Stranding.
Right. But like that's the type of direction you go in where you're like, yeah, man, that's a hole in a wall. I don't know. Like that's good enough. It doesn't have to be a thing that
Doesn't have to be a big tentacle monster.
I mean, I don't know, I heard it turn to shit as a franchise, but Blair Witch, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Garbage, right?
Right to shit.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them. I just know the trailers and the memes. But the first version of that, where you go found footage, and I think you find the person standing in the basement.
Yeah,
right?
that's the big scare reveal, is a person standing with their back to you in a basement, and then it cuts away and you hear a bunch of screaming because you don't know what happened.
That is a lot of unknown weird
Or
stuff.
RE7 homages it when you go into the basement and the guys on the radiator or whatever.
Yeah, I like that. There you go. I'm like, yeah. I don't know what the fuck that is. You don't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
You know, or It Follows, all this stuff. You just gotta go a little somewhere different with it. So yeah. That kind of got away from me.
BT's kind of stopped being scary and start being like video game enemies.
Video game enemies.
By the end. As your methods of dealing with them increase exponentially, they be like, and health bars start to get introduced.
Yeah.
You're like, okay,
But
that's cool though.
But of course, like I'm you know, I still have to wait to see like other versions of things, you know, and whatnot. But